Good evening, everybody. This is the Hillbilly Think Tank coming at you live from Tunnel Hills here in Hardin County, Kentucky. And I am the Hillbilly Think Tank, Spencer Keck. And it's an amazing, amazing day today. It's been a long day, starting off a lot later than normal, but I'm just dumbfounded by some of the things I've seen in the news. Only got time to go over a couple of them. Again, this is the Hillbilly Think Tank. I am the educated hillbilly. No, that's not an oxymoron. Don't call me a moron. There have been educated, emancipated, and erudite hillbillies since we came through the Cumberland Gap with Daniel Boone. Now, y'all, I'm sure you've seen how the Orange Jesus has portrayed himself this week. It's absolutely amazing. And Wall Street, it turns out, loves war. They're not having any problems with the gas prices being up, diesel prices being up, with the high cost of fertilizer for farmers. It's not bothering the S&P 500 one bit. They're making lots of dough off of this. And if you don't believe it, just look at some of their, best magazines, Fortune 500, Forbes. You can read all about it there. For instance, one of the last notes in one of the articles I read in Forbes said, Wall Street calls it the taco trade. Trump always chickens out, coined by FT columnist Robert Armstrong after Trump abruptly paused his Liberation Day tariffs in April 2025. But what started as a joke has become some hard, serious liquidity. Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson told clients in a Sunday note that the Iran sell-off was a correction inside an ongoing bull market with earnings accelerating into the oil shock rather than rolling over. The median S&P 500 company is now growing EPs at a double-digit pace, the fastest since 2021. The market trades in advance of the headlines, Wilson wrote. Investors should do the same. So they are basically just trading off of the headlines and making money up and down. It doesn't matter. They're making money off of this. This war is not causing them any pain when it comes to the gas pumps, when it comes to fertilizer costs, when it comes to the high costs now that we're going to be seeing when it comes to food and everything else we need to buy. So if they're not feeling it, why is it that we're feeling it so bad? Well, obviously, it does mean something to us when the cost of oil prices go up and jack up the cost at the fuel tank. When fertilizer is unaffordable and that raises the price of groceries, that costs all of us on Main Street. But we know Wall Street and Main Street are worlds apart. Y'all, let's look at this same time. What is it that the Orange Jesus is doing? We know he started a fight with the Pope. And, apparently this doesn't bother him at all. And, that doesn't bother some people, and that's cool. I'm not Catholic, but I do think this Pope made some good points. But let's look at how our Orange Jesus sees himself as it is. what is his image of himself?
There's been widespread condemnation after Donald Trump posted on social media an AI-generated image of himself as a Jesus-like figure. He's also been criticizing the Pope, who's been critical of the Iran war. Pope Leo says he's not afraid of the Trump administration, and the social media picture has now been deleted. Ali Makboul, our religion editor, has that story.
The US president bathed in golden light, apparently healing a sick man. Many saw the image as blasphemous. Donald Trump has now deleted it, but said he wasn't trying to be Jesus.
I thought it was me as a doctor and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one.
Overnight, the president did also launch a scathing verbal attack on the Pope.
I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world. I'm not a fan of Pope Leo.
It's all come because of the Pope's clear and vocal opposition to the war in Iran. Throughout recent weeks, including in his Easter message, he's talked of unjustifiable civilian deaths. On a flight starting a trip to Africa, Pope Leo was asked for his response to the president's posts and insults.
I do not look at my role as being politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loud against war, looking to promote peace.
Donald Trump's now said Pope Leo was only elected because of him. He posted this image during the conclave last year. But there are suggestions that in this confrontation, even some of his supporters think he's gone too far. Ali Makboul, BBC News.
American warships are now enforcing a blockade of maritime traffic entering and leaving all Iranian ports, including via the Strait of Hormuz. The aim to stop Iran's oil exports after the breakdown of peace talks at the weekend. Tehran has threatened to retaliate, but Donald Trump has warned that if Iran tries to breach the blockade with so-called fast attack ships, they'll be eliminated. All this, of course, comes in the middle of what's supposed to be a 2-week ceasefire. Well, since the start of the war, 6 weeks.
So we've got Orange Jesus raising people from the dead, while at the same time basking in the power to wipe a whole civilization off the earth if he so chooses. When is enough going to be enough? I keep asking this, and I haven't quite gotten a real answer yet. When is enough enough? When is it enough that this crazy son of a gun, I mean, what can he not do that will not get people to push back? I mean, everything is given a pass by the guardians of the pedophile. Pedophilia, given a pass. Assaulting young women, given a pass. Being a friends with Jeffrey, given a pass. Protecting Jeffrey and anyone else in the files, given a pass. Dressing up like the Pope and saying, elect me as Pope previously. Just a joke, given a pass. Saying, I'm going to wipe a country, a civilization off the face of the earth. Praise be to Allah. Given a pass. He's invoked the name of Allah twice now in tweets. Given a pass. Now, he is portraying himself as Jesus H. Christ. And what are we doing? Apparently, giving him a pass. So we got here a re-rendering and a correction of that picture, according to Valhalla VFT. He says, I know a lot of people are outraged. Don't worry. I went in ahead and fixed Trump's picture to make it actually accurate. Enjoy all the little details. So, yeah. I do enjoy all the little details there. Now, and other news worldwide, Hungary, this is the way they looked once they got rid of their 16-year MAGA reign by a MAGA dictator that J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and many others went over and campaigned for, but their guy lost. But here's what it looks like and sounds like when fascism loses. So they can even dance better than Trump's jerk-off dance. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's just one look at how the world is now treating this idiocracy. Complete and utter idiocracy. All right, now, so it turns out, I guess, that Trump, while the troops are off in danger, we're at a tenuous and pretty rocky ceasefire period. He decides it's time to go out there and hang out with, the UFC crowd and Dana White. Right? Yeah. All right, look over here at Jim C. But, he thought he was a doctor. Oh, cute. Such joy, right? Well, let's go see him another joyous occasion for himself in his self-aggrandizement tour. He's just so good at that, I'm not sure what this does for our nation, but hey, he's good at it. We elected a grandizer in chief.
President Donald Trump was booed entering UFC 327 in Miami. The appearance came amid a ceasefire in the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. Online, some mocked the walk-in with UFC's Dana White and empty seats. One post called it about as pathetic as it gets, and another noted he got booed. Dana White had confirmed Trump's attendance on a live stream with Aiden Ross. At UFC in Miami in April 25, Trump was greeted with a standing ovation and cheers of USA.
Yeah.
I do not know who was more disturbed by Donald Trump today, Maria Bartiromo or J.D. Vance. Because on one hand, Maria Bartiromo watched in shock, just could not believe her eyes. Her eyes were actually bulging during her entire interview with Donald Trump because of the wild shit he was saying about his new plan for negotiations with Iran. But of course, on the other hand, J.D. Vance is trying to make those negotiations work as Donald Trump continues to post mocking, humiliating, and kind of attacking him. Vance is watching his political career fall apart, and Maria had to watch silently as Donald Trump's did as well. And the worst interview I've ever seen him give on Fox. And it started off just as badly as possible, with Trump admitting that his vice president is negotiating from a place of weakness when he had this to say about Iran.
Well, they reacted, it was very interesting. It started off weak. They came in like they had the cards, but they don't have the cards. Their army, their whole military is obliterated. The whole place is obliterated. And, as you know, levels of leaders are gone. They're literally gone.
So if everything's obliterated in Iran, then why are we even talking about negotiations? We are under control. There's nobody stopping us from bringing ships through the Straits of Hormuz, right? Isn't that what we've been led to believe? We won. Why are we even negotiating if we won, if we obliterated them, as he says?
Khomeini's gone. The whole thing is gone. The whole place is gone. They have one thing that they can do. They can say, well, gee, we're going to put a mine someplace just a mine. We'll drop 1 mine, 2 mines, 10 mines. And that will, if you have a ship that costs $1 billion, you'll say, well, you know, I prefer not getting whacked by a mine, losing my ship, or damaging it badly.
So, again, a couple things here. Number one, we got rid of Khomeini and replaced him with Khomeini Jr. Got rid of the 86-some-year-old Khomeini, got a younger 40-some-year-old Khomeini. What's the difference? Regime is still there. And he says, oh, just one little floating mine. Oh, really? Well, I've seen what mines can do in combat. When I was in the first Gulf War, I was right there when we got 14 mines nearly hit us. One came within 8 feet. One day we had 3 to 4 mines. Seems like every time it was time for chow, we had to go to general quarters, battle stations. And that day went by in terror. That night, the USS Tripoli and other ships got hit by mines. And that's not a small little thing to talk about. That was in the first Gulf War. Here we are again, and he's acting as if it's just a nuisance, mines. What an absolute idiotic statement.
And so that's a little bit of a thing that they can do, that it's military might and military power don't do it, but, you know, it's extortion, and they're extorting the world. You know, we don't get our oil from there. We have so much oil. We have, and one thing you said is, I don't know if anybody heard it well, but we have boats pouring up to the United States. They'll be filling them up, and they'll be leaving, and they're going to be packed with the best oil you can get, light, sweet crude. They're going to have the best oil that you can get. But so that's interesting. And
so here's where those ships would have to sail from. Yeah, they're not packing our ports, and they're not all headed over here. That's a bunch of horse shit.
It's great because we have a lot of oil. We don't get any. I mean, literally last year it was 1%. We did that as a favor. We don't need the strait. But other countries do. And I will tell you, while we're on the subject, we're very disappointed with NATO. We're very, very disappointed that they didn't come. Now they want to come and they want to help with the strait. And it won't take long to clean it out. So we're going to clean out the strait, and they'll be able to use the strait in not too long a distance. But
So the Strait of Hormuz will come up again in this interview because, of course, it will. And it did. And I can't even explain to you the wildest way possible. I'm just going to tease it up. I'm going to tee it up with that because you're going to want to stick around for what Donald Trump's brilliant plan was with the Strait. But he is saying that Iran came in negotiating from a place of strength. And Trump says, well, they shouldn't have been doing that because they have no strength. Well, then how are they coming in and negotiating from that place? And why have these negotiations not gone well? It seems like you are admitting that they are coming from a place of strength.
So they absolutely are coming from a place of strength. They've got drones that cost a few $100s, and our missiles that we use to shoot them down cost millions. And we're running out of them. And we're telling other countries, come on in. We'll shoot down the drones if they come your way. This is absolute nonsense. This is a way to start another worldwide Great Depression. If you don't recall, Herbert Hoover loved him some tariffs. Used tariffs all the time. Herbert Hoover loved letting corporations run amok and do whatever they wanted without any regulation and without any strictures on what they could do to you and me. So high tariffs, people speculating on the stock market willy-nilly that had no business being there. And we ended up with worldwide economic collapse. And it took someone coming in, the name of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, to clean it all up. But Herbert Hoover, he was a strong-handed president, sent in United States troops to clear out veterans who were marching in D.C., demanding some payment, some relief from the Great Depression after they had fought so valiantly in World War I. And here we go again. So what are we going to do? When are our senators, congressmen, and women going to stand up, have some backbone, and become that third pillar of democracy that they're supposed to be? They're supposed to be 3 branches, and they're all supposed to be checks and balances on the other. We don't have it. We've got an autocrat that is out of control. And of course, war, I did not vote for the orange orangutan. I did not vote for anyone who had bone spurs and couldn't serve his nation due to fucking bone spurs. So no, I did not vote for this clown. All right, so it is up to us, because no one else is coming to rescue us. It's up to us to daily call your senators, your congressmen, and tell them that they must impeach this president. They must impeach Whiskey Pete Keg's Breath. There's no other way around it. If we don't want worldwide economic collapse, in addition to what we're already having collapse locally, we've got to vote out all the guardians of the pedophiles. Again, it's not left versus right. It's not Democrat versus Republican. It is those of us who have had enough with the billionaire elites getting away with crimes and telling us that we're going to pay for everything that they break. And that's what's happening right now. That is our modus operandi. Wall Street is prospering well, while Main Street is suffering. And no one seems willing to stand up for what is actually needed in this nation. So we've got to vote out the absolute idiots. All right. So War says people can't stomach it, but they should have voted for Kamala. This administration has taken down an empire. Yeah, I agree. T-Dot. I eat or Tolan, whatever that is. Okay. All right. So in the meantime, let's look at how much taxes Elon Musk is actually paying. What is his getaway from all of this? And is he paying his fair share? So Musk is now worth over $800 billion. Tesla reported paying 0 federal income tax on $5.7 billion of U.S. income in 2025. Meanwhile, millions of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and household debt has risen to a record high. This is what we mean when we say the system is rigged. Does anyone have any doubt about that? So here's another take on Trump's meme. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You mean like him? Yeah. Nowhere on earth does that look like a doctor. And to act like it does is absolute insanity. But I guess we've all gone insane, maybe. Here we go. Here he is as a doctor. Sir, can we help you? No, I work here. So yeah, I guess this is how he saw himself. Excellent. Yeah. That's how we're all supposed to see him. Yep. All right. Eddie says, did your taxes go up? Or war? Eddie, if they haven't now, they will. Yeah. So we know that they wrote the taxes to where they'll go up after the next election cycle. They'll wait until everybody is stupid enough to think that those tax breaks were for the middle class forever. No, they only wrote the forever tax breaks for the billionaire class. You and me, we'll see our taxes go up after the election cycle when they think that we've forgotten about it. And it won't matter anymore because we've already voted for them again. And again, my taxes going up or down, that's, nothing compared to the world chaos that we've got right now. I would take world not being in chaos, not seeing any more servicemen and women dying for oil. I'd see my taxes go up slightly for that. That's something I'm willing to pay for. Eddie, too cool. Trump did not come in sheep's clothing. Trump came in roaring like a lion. That the scriptures to read. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Never. He's the Lamb of God, but okay. If he's going to be that lamb-eating lion, go for it. I didn't see that in any of my scriptures. Show me the chapter and verse in the New Testament saying that is what's going on. That's how he came in. He's the kind of guy who washed his disciples' feet. He was not too good to wash his own disciples' feet. There's nothing showing more humility and sacrifice and no more better example of a servant leader than Jesus Christ washing his disciples' feet. I remember back then they didn't have shoes that covered everything. These are sandals. These are people walking through dust and sand and grime day in, day out. The feet were nasty. And yet he said, hey, I will wash your feet. So servant leadership. Yep. That is what my hero, JC, the rebel Jesus, did. All right. So, and yes, I am Main Street, and he is not helping Main Street. All right, y'all. If it's just not obvious enough by now,
I got one of these.
This guy is all about himself and nothing else. I don't know what we can do to prove it, to make you say, hey, yeah, you're right. I'm not doing better. The world's not doing better. And we're threatening nuclear annihilation of a country. That's the only way you can wipe a civilization that size off the map. And we all know it. So we're talking real danger. We're not talking someone who is there with all of his marbles. So regardless of what his sycophants like to say. All right. So U.S. blockade of Iran will be a major military endeavor, analysts say. And it absolutely will. Absolutely will. So, all right, y'all. Remember, the only way we can make it through this is together. So, united we stand, divided we fall. We can only do that if we're our brother's keeper and our sister's keeper. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Bless your corazón. And remember those troops deployed overseas. Let's keep them all close and dear to our heart, like I do. Like and subscribe. Have an awesome one.
Beans shipping cross country at refrigerated trucks. And third, they take all and cook them in modern bush beans. In the 50s and 60s, convenience became king, and TV did not soaking overnight, got laid old-fashioned means it actually works. Your great-grandfather didn't grow salad runners because they were trendy. He grew them because when the bank foreclosed on farms across the